Before we get into the episode, I am thrilled to announce that the EntreMD Business School is open for enrollment. The EntreMD Business School is the only school of its kind for physicians who want to build 6, 7, and multiple 7-figure businesses. Over the last 2 years, we have had hundreds of doctors go through the school with unbelievable results. Some of them run brands, some of them run private practices, some of them are coaches, some have other kinds of service-based businesses or product-based businesses. And we've had people come in and cross the 6-figure milestone, cross the 7-figure milestone, cross the multiple 7-figure milestone. You will be in a place where you'll get the coaching, the community, the accountability that you need to thrive as an entrepreneur, especially in the times that we're in. So maybe you've been following me for a while. Maybe you've been getting so much out of the EntreMD podcast and you've been wondering, how can I work with Dr. Una and the community more? Well, this is your chance. Come join us in the EntreMD Business School. It is application only. So go to entremd.com/business to turn in your application. I cannot tell you how many doctors have made statements like this. I recovered my investment in the first week. I recovered my investment in my bank account in the first 90 days. This is the best investment I've made in myself ever. I want you to have that kind of story, not just a story of building a great business that serves a lot and earns a lot, but having a business that gives you the freedom to live life on your terms. So don't wait any longer. entremd.com/business. And now for the episode. Hi, docs. Welcome to the EntreMD podcast, where it's all about helping amazing physicians just like you embrace entrepreneurship so you can have the freedom to live life and practice medicine on your terms. I'm your host, Dr. Una. Well, hello, my friend. Welcome back to another episode of the EntreMD podcast. As always, super pumped to be your ears. And again, thank you. I know I say it a lot, but thank you so much for coming back week after week. Thank you for sending me all those, direct messages, letting me know how you're using this podcast to change your business. And thank you for the reviews you leave us on iTunes. So thank you. And today, I came to talk about something that I think will be so helpful. It's been so helpful for me. And that's, boundaries around social media, right? Boundaries around social media. And I'm not here to diss social media. Like when I look back and I think about it, social media was really the platform that I used to build my business. EntreMD is the platform I used to create massive growth for my private practice. And so it's a platform I've used to bring in millions and millions and millions of dollars. In fact, I had a lot of, clients and people in the physician community who really felt that their businesses were not working because they couldn't afford to do Facebook ads, or their Facebook ads weren't working the way they should. And I decided in EntreMD that until I hit $1 million in revenue in a year, I was not going to do any ads, just so people understand the power of social media, the power of organic marketing. So I really didn't use ads until after that milestone. And so it's something that is, social media is something that's really powerful for entrepreneurs. If it's not something that you use, I want to highly suggest you consider stepping into it. And even if you're building a wildly successful business, please understand that this could amplify that this could be like fuel to the fire. And, many entrepreneurs don't realize this, but it's not unusual for you to start from one business, going to another business, want to make some, pivots and things like that. And what allows you to do that very, much easier is your personal brand, right? And social media is a great place to build that. So it's kind of the gift that keeps giving. Is amazing. Okay. But the thing is this, there is some, there's some balance that's required, right? Like it is a tool that you can use to grow your business. It is a weapon you can use to destroy, your life, your family life, and all of those things. And the funny thing is that it's not as though some people use it as a tool and some people use it as a weapon. At every point in time, you could be using it as a tool or a weapon, right? Like, so you want to get a feel for, how do I create boundaries around this thing? How do I manage it in such a way that it doesn't take over my life? How do I use it responsibly, right? Okay. So I'm going to give you, 4 things you can do to create a healthy boundary around your social media usage. Okay. The first thing is creating time blocks, right? The thing about time is that, it can just expand. Like you can just be on social media and you realize that you've been there for 2 hours just scrolling and watching one funny cat video after the other, or one reel of people getting their hair braided after the other, right? Like it's not hard to do that if you don't predefine what you're going to be doing with your social media time and when you're going to use that time, right? And so the first is creating time blocks where you're like, I'm not on social media at these times, right? That's creating a healthy break for you. For some people, it's easier than others, depending on what your usage is right now. And so, for instance, I try, I'm not going to say this is something I do perfectly, but I try to make sure the first hour of the day for sure, there's no email, there's no social media, there's none of that, because that is like waking up and your entire family, like your parents, your siblings, your first cousins, your second cousins, your third cousins, and their spouses and their kids all lived in your house. And you woke up and there was a gathering, you just went into it, right? Like you want to take control of your day. You want to be proactive with your day, not reactive, right? And so if you start off with email, social media, all of those kind of things, whatever conversation is there kind of directs your day, right? Like, so you open up your email and you get, something from, a team member quit. Okay. They already quit, right? But you can see it after you've decided what you want your day to be like, and you've done your, daily routine that creates mental toughness for you and all these things before you get that, right? Or you open up social media and, some client has left you a 1-star review because of something, or, tagged you on something and said how awful your service is. I mean, it's already there. You're still going to see it, but you might as well take control of your day first, right? And so time blocking where, this time of the day, I don't go in, this time for my business, this is time I work on my business. So I'm not really showing up there. You can decide this is a time, like 5 p.m. is the end of my workday. And then I'm off of social media then. And you might be like, Doctor, I can't be off of social media from 5 till I go to bed. Fine. But create some blocks there in the evening where you're like, this is family time or this is whatever time, and I'm not doing this there. You know what I mean? And so you want to create these blocks that interrupt your usage. That's the bottom line, right? That interrupt your usage. You don't want social media to have access to you 24/7, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is be clear on your intent per time. Okay. Now you notice I talked about creating millions of dollars in revenue and all of these things on social media. That's me showing on social media as an entrepreneur, right? I'm showing up there, to build relationships, to let people know what I do, to share testimonies of the amazing wins we've created for our clients and things like that, to serve my community, did a lot of Facebook lives and all those kind of things. And, when I'm doing that, I'm working, right? I'm not just aimlessly scrolling and stuff like that, which is, and it's strategic, right? Like I have specific, content that I put up. I have, specific things I do. I have specific people I engage with and all of that, which is very different from pulling up the thing, look at what's on your feed, watching video after video, just wait. For some people, they may decide that's relaxing, right? But it's just random. It's not strategic. It's random, right? Like, so when it's your random time, you want to be very clear. This is random time. When you go in there and you are networking, right? Because almost everything you do in real life as an entrepreneur, you can do on social media, right? You can do virtually. So you're networking with people who could be referral sources, with people who could be clients, with people who are in your community. You're doing market research. You're finding out like, what are the pain points of my people so I can better direct my content so it's solving problems for them. You could be on there, selling, telling people this is what I do and this is how you can work with me. Like that's all strategic. Okay. So you want to be clear. I'm working or I'm playing, right? Like, you just want to be clear on what exactly it is you're doing. And when you're doing the working piece, we'll do that. When you're doing the playing piece, do that. And then you can say, wow, like, I was on social media for 4 hours today. But 3 of those hours I was working, or 2 of those hours I worked, and 2 hours I was playing. Like maybe I should play less, on social media, play more with, the people around me. But you want to be clear. You want to be crystal clear on the intent. Okay. Even as an entrepreneur, I'll put this out here, it's also part of the boundary. You want to also look like when I'm on there, am I being reactive? Like I'm just showing up and responding to whatever is happening? Or am I being proactive? Like, am I showing up Am I controlling the narrative around my brand? Am I taking responsibility for my online reputation? Am I showing the marketplace who I am? Or am I just responding to stuff, right? Like, am I just passively there? Someone asks a question and then I'll answer it and things like that. Or am I building a dominant brand? Like, be clear on your intent so that like, you're not confused by the results you get. Like, if you're playing there the whole time, then you're not going to get business results from that. If you're showing up strategically with the volume and consistency, you are going to get results from that. If you are reactive, you get some results, but if you're proactive, you get even bigger results, right? So just want to be clear on your intent, okay, so that you can use your time there properly. The third thing, and this is really huge, is to keep it in its place. Like, in the virtual, like, Facebook has been good to me. Okay. I have built some of the most phenomenal relationships that are even like real, like relationships we've now met in person or now built a deeper relationship that we've taken offline and things like that. So I am not knocking social media. However, there are relationships that are more real than what you have on social media. You are here, you have a spouse, you have kids, you have siblings, you have friends like you've had over the years. These are your ride and dies. You want to make sure that you're not invested in those relationships because you have all these relationships online that you're spending time on 24/7, right? Because when the chips are down, these are your people. You know what I mean? These are your people. And you may say, oh, but you haven't met my family. Okay, so if your family is out of this world dysfunctional, maybe that's a little different. But if it is, you also want to build an alternate family, right? You want to build relationships with people who can stand in, because we all need families, right? And you want to have that because it is so grounding. It's something, because yes, there are real relationships that you're going to build virtually, but the bigger your brand gets, the more you're going to have people who, I mean, they'll click and all of that. Well, all it takes is for you to say one politically correct thing and they're gone. You know what I mean? Like, it is not as real as these other relationships. So you want to make sure you have real relationships with people who will be with you through the thick and thin and all those things. And you're taking the time to cultivate those relationships. Like, if you have to take time off of social media so you can spend time building these, you want to build them because you're going to need them. I haven't been alive for too long, but at least I've been alive for 44 years. And there will always be challenges. There will always be times when you'll need people. Make sure you're building the relationships with those people before you need them, right? Like, so make sure you're doing that. So put social media in its place. Don't be confused by the likes and the clicks and the comments. And please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that those are all fake. Some of them are, right? But I'm not saying they're all fake. I have built many really deep, great relationships that started on social media. But that's the thing. You build them deeper, right? Like, so they're your people, right? Okay. So I think I've hit that enough, but keep it in its place. And the fourth thing is, especially in the times we live in, actively protect your mental space. Actively, your mental space is like your real estate, right? It is like your home. When you look at your home, you have doors, and those doors have locks, and many of you have security systems. And so if a door that's not supposed to be open gets open, there are alarms that go on, right? You have kids, you protect them. There are people you allow into their lives. There are people you don't allow into their lives, right? In the same way, your mental space, it's not a highway. you don't just let anything go into it. It's not a highway. It's something you guard jealously. You guard actively, knowing that the things you allow in there are going to affect you. Like, it is the height of deception to think that it won't. So those things are going to affect you. And so if that's the case, you protect what you allow into it. Okay. So what that means is, if you know that there's a group or a profile that you follow or you're part of, and every time you go there, you get triggered, right? Like, you get totally triggered. You don't have to be there. You can exit the group, right? There are groups you go into And it makes it so difficult for you to believe in your dream. For instance, early in my journey, there were many Facebook groups that were physician groups, and they would bash entrepreneurship. Like if people, all these doctors getting in entrepreneurship to deceive other doctors and take advantage of them and take their money and things like that and all that. And while I'm like, yeah, everybody's entitled to their opinion and stuff like that, and I'm building what I'm building, that's just unnecessary baggage. Like once I'm done reading that one sentence, then I go off and then I have to do all the work to rewire my brain and say, and have all these arguments, nobody doesn't matter and all. And I'm just like, forget it. I just leave, right? Especially in the beginning part, because you have to fight for your dreams. You have to fight for what you believe in. And sometimes you're dealing with your own doubt. I don't need my doubt and your doubt and everybody else's doubt. So there are places where, when you come out of these places, you need recovery time. And that's a marker. If you are in a group or you follow somebody and every time you see their post, you need recovery time, unfollow, exit the group, protect your mental space. And you may have heard me say this before because I've talked about this on our episodes on comparitis and things like that. And I'm like, listen, if you have comparitis, right, where maybe you're a coach and you see other coaches doing really well and you don't want this to be your response, but it makes you feel really bad. It makes you feel like you suck and things like that. Granted, you're going to have to work through that. But in the meantime, unfollow them. Like unfollow the person while you build this and you get to this point where you're no longer comparing and things like that. But in the meantime, if you're noticing every time you see someone's post, it takes you 24 hours to recover, unfollow them. Unfollow them. Protect your mental space. Guard your mental space. You don't have to be friends with everybody. You don't have to be acquaintances with everybody. And it doesn't mean that it's, for some of them, maybe it's not a permanent thing. Maybe you'll follow them for 90 days, 6 months, a year, whatever. And after that, you're in a space to follow them and be inspired by what they're doing rather than being offended by what they're doing or like it making you feel like you're not doing a good job. So when it comes to protecting your mental space, it may be good or bad, right? Like, so the example of somebody doing better, that's not a bad thing. They're not saying anything bad against you. So it's not a bad thing. But if it's messing up with your mind, unfollow. Okay. And, and if you're like, I don't know if there are any groups like that, if you walk out of a group and every time you walk out of the group or every time you see someone's post, you feel some kind of way and it's very discouraging and you have this chatter that keeps going on in your mind back and forth. You start feeling bad because of the way you feel about them, which you're like, I shouldn't feel that way. And you have to go read up another book or you have to go meet with your coach or you have to go do anything like that, unfollow them. Yeah, that's a sign that they're messing with your mental space. It doesn't mean they're bad. It may just be there's something you haven't developed. It doesn't matter. Protect your mental space. Okay, so those are the things. Creating those time blocks. Be clear on the intent while you're on there. Keep it in its place. And please, please, please protect your mental space. And so this is one of those episodes where, maybe you're listening to this as you are working out or you're driving to work or whatever. It's a good one to go back to and listen to again and really, workshop it, right? Workshop it, do your analysis, look at where you can create some time blocks. This doesn't have to be perfect. Start from somewhere. The important thing is to start. And, I'd really love for everyone to be at a point where you are leveraging social media as a tool and not a weapon, right? Leveraging social media as a tool, not a weapon. So go do this. And I would love for you to build a dominant brand on there. I would love for you to be able to reach all the, clients who would love to work with you, And you do that all the while you're building, you're taking time for yourself and you're protecting your mental space and you're taking time to build high quality relationships because we all need them desperately. Okay. All right. So share this with another doctor in your life. They'll be excited you did. And I will see you on the next episode of the EntreMD Podcast. Hey, if you love listening to the EntreMD Podcast, I want to invite you to join EntreMD On Demand. It is my signature subscription program that gives you access to a library of business courses designed to help you do one thing as a physician entrepreneur, and that is to thrive. Just head out to entremd.com/on demand, and I'd love to have you join us. See you on the inside.